But yeah, like I think definitely like Saudi going after these top players. Some people are saying it's a threat. What about you, Priya?
I do see it as a threat. Even Gary Neville and Jamie Carragher, they went off
Mm,
at the Premier League. Like they tweeted that Premier League should impose a rule to stop players going to Saudi. They were
mm.
fine as long as only retired players went. But if they start poaching players in their prime, like Bernardo Silva, Ruben Neves, I mean, he's not a great player, but
Yeah.
still, he's in one of the like best leagues he's playing. And another
Yeah.
thing I read, Saudi, the oil company, they had $166 billion in net profit this year, the like most profit by any company, including Apple.
Mhm.
And they want to diversify the revenues, so they have basically income from other sources, including sports. They did an agreement with the golf, the PGA Tour. They
Yeah.
did some
Live.
merger, but yeah. So they also want to go after football, make the Saudi league one of the top leagues, and they have so much money. They offered 1.2 billion to Messi. So just imagine they spend that money on other players. How many other good players they can bring in? They have that money, and they recently acquired the top four teams in Saudi. They made it government owned. Al
Hmm.
Hilal, Al Nas, Al Ittihad, and then one more team. So they are going after, I think, a lot of good players. And this is just the first year, and look what they're doing.
But I agree to your point. Like I think as far as they don't go after prime players, I don't see them as a threat. But as soon as like Bernardo Silva accepts an offer there, like that's dangerous territory. But how can they even impose like rules? Can they? Can the Premier League say like you're not allowed to go to another league?
Just one more thing to add. PSG, like no one wanted to
Mm.
go play for them, but suddenly these Qatari owners come and they like brought in everyone. I know like
Yeah.
Ramos and Messi still was good, but they were not their prime, but
Hmm.
still they
Mm.
attracted Neymar in his prime.
Yeah.
Mbappe like is playing there, like Donnarumma, like they could attract all these players and no one wants to play in the French league. And
Yeah,
imagine you
but
go to Saudi and you get paid double, like it's like playing in the French league, kind of. Like
no, but the thing is like in French league you still have the chance to play in the Champions League.
only if you go to PSG, yeah, but with PSG you're never gonna win the Champions League. Like they have no plan, no project, they just bring in names. But you're right.
Yeah,
I see.
I understand. But like, yeah, so like if you look at Saudi, what like other than money, there is really no incentive for playing the game of football. Like, what are they gonna win? The Saudi Cup? Like, I know that's reputable for in Saudi Arabia. Like, if in
Yeah, but
Iran, for instance, you win the cup, the
yeah,
what was it called? Ligue Barta,
Uh-huh.
Persian, the Premier League. Yeah.
Persian
Persian Gulf.
Persian Premier League. Yeah, it's obviously considered a high price, but like not like nobody's gonna care here. Or like it's the Champions League, it's like known, everybody knows about it.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Fair point. But
Yeah.
I don't know. Like maybe money, like this new generation, maybe money is more important than winning trophies. For Bellingham, it wasn't like he could have
Hmm.
probably went to a Premier League team, earned more money, but he chose to go to Real Madrid, like, because that was his dream. But maybe
Hmm.
other kids, like they might prefer to go to Saudi. Like Oscar, the Chelsea player, remember? Like
Yeah.
out of nowhere, he
Yeah.
went to China. Like,
Yeah. They're going everywhere. Like it's not just like football. They're going to golf. They're probably going to tap into it, and they're going to build a basketball team. I can assume like a basketball league further down, but yeah, it's pretty wild.
yeah, I told you they have 166 billion to spend. Imagine they just put 10 billion of it into sports. Like
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
it. And did you hear about the rumor that they might be somehow indirect owners of Chelsea?
I did.
Yeah. I
Well, can you
mean,
explain that?
yeah.
Uh, Ali, do you know more about this detail? Because I know the
No, I don't
general
know, but
thing.
I know that Gary Neville and Jamie Carragher were like complaining about how Saudi League like is buying a lot of players from Chelsea recently. And they were like, you gotta halt this and investigate to see like um what's happening there, if there's any like sort of wrongdoings with the purchases of these players. But I remember that I had heard like that Saudi, like some sort of like involvement from Saudi with Chelsea.
I think one of Todd Bowley's partners, he has a lot of business in Saudi, or he does a lot of business with the Saudis. And Bowley, he was in Saudi a couple weeks ago, right before these transfers happened. So definitely there's something going on. Why would you
Mm.
pay these players like this much of money. I mean, the clubs, because the salary is one thing different, but the transfer fee, Chelsea would have let them go for much, much cheaper because they don't need these players. And no one's gonna pay this much for the transfer fee, not the salary. So
Yeah.
I don't know. This is not normal. And Chelsea, they need to balance their books because they spend so much. So
Yeah.
this is not normal. They're cooking the books. Like they're doing some Man City stuff.